Oh, hi there. Thanks for showing up for your students' learning. I'm Grant Jennings. This is a game I developed with Richard Daviau, and this video is to get you playing Fraction Dice Dunk really fast so that you can teach your students really fast and they can practice their addition and subtraction of fraction skills. So let's take a look at the playmat and the two different play options of this game. So students will need the playmat and some dice, 6 dice. You can use multi-sided dice for very spicy play, or and it's still spicy if you use six-sided dice. Six-sided dice work great for this game. So they're going to need 4 or 6-sided dice for this game, some scrap paper, and a pen or pencil of some variety, and a calculator if you want them to play in a mild way and do their addition and subtraction of fractions on a calculator. So the first play style, free throw mode, is played against 2 players. Let's say we have Dave and Pavan. Dave goes first and rolls 4 dice. Dave's goal now is to arrange these dice 2, 3, 4, 5 and create 2 fractions to add or subtract and be as close to 1 as possible. So let's say Dave says, well, I see that I can do 1/2 plus 3/5. I think that's as close as possible as 1 can be to 1. And then Pavan has a chance now to take this same roll of dice and without re-rolling, rearrange the dice to try and be closer. All right. So Dave says, and maybe they write this down somewhere. They say, I have 1/2 plus 3/5. That's the same thing as 11/10 because that's 5/10 plus 6/10. And I don't think you can get closer to 1 than 11/10, Pavan. And Pavan says, well, just give me a second and let me see what I can do. I see that I can do 2 minus 3/5. Oh, no, that's not really close, is it? Well, minus 5/3. Oh, no, that's even further away. How close can I get? And then Pavan says, well, maybe I go a little bit bigger than 2. Then I subtract a little bit more than 1. Is this any closer? And then they're going to figure it out. Is 5/2 minus 4/3 any closer than this? And we'll see that I don't believe it is. Let's just make sure to check the game. So Pavan's number here is 5/2 minus 4/3, which is the same thing as we're going to go to sixths. So this is 15/6 minus 8/6, and then we find that that's 7/6, which is close, but that's closer. So in this case, the scoring works this way. If the original roller of the dice was closer to 1, that person scores 1 point. Had Pavan improved on the arrangement of the dice, they dunk on the original roller and score 2 points. So the scoring is similar to euchre in that way. Now it's Pavan's turn to roll first. Pavan rolls, it's always a straight. That's very interesting. What are the chances that I roll 2 straights in a row? 1/4 plus 2/3. And so Pavan says, I think that's the closest that we can be. And I believe Pavan is right in this case. So, yeah. So here we go. This would be 1/4 plus 2/3. That's going to be, gosh, I think that's 11/12. That's 3/12. And that's 8/12. That's indeed 11/12. So can Dave get closer by rearranging the dice? Well, I don't think so, because Dave says, well, I see I can do 3/4 plus 1/2. No, I'm not closer. Okay, so Dave says he can't improve it, so Pavan scores 1 point. And then they go back and forth playing in that way. All right, so that is free throw mode. You can use free throw mode as a warm-up for the somewhat more challenging 1v1 mode down here. So 1v1 mode, how are we going to play this one? Well, in this case, we still have Dave and Pavan. They've warmed up on the version above, and they're ready for a bigger challenge. So Dave goes first as the defender. In this game, players will alternate defender and attacker roles. The defender's goal is to create a target that's hard to hit. So, I mean, here, Dave can either create the target 2 or 1/2. Or for more variety, you can have them roll 3 dice and choose the target. Maybe Dave thinks a target of 1 is too easy to hit, so Dave will set the target 1/2, let's say. So the defender rolls these 3 dice, creates the target. The attacker's goal is to get as close as possible with 2 fractions. So the attacker might roll these dice and get 4/5 and 1/5 here and say, well, I can do 4/5 minus 1/5 is going to be as close as I believe I can get to 1/2. That gives me 3/5. So I am 1/10 away from 1/2. So Dave was the defender. We'll write down Dave's defender number. The attacker number here is the result of this math operation, which is 3/5. And then Dave was the defender. The defender's number was not hit exactly by the attacker. So Dave scores the difference between these two numbers. Now, Pavan takes a turn as the defender, rolls a 5 and a 2 and decides, I'm going to arrange them that way. Or maybe you have them rolling 3 dice and choosing. So in this case, let's say that Pavan chooses 6/4 as the target number. Now, Dave will roll 4 dice and try and get as close to as possible to that number. And let's say we had this situation where, let's change this to a 1. Okay, they're not supposed to change dice, but I'm going to just to illustrate something. So here, Dave says, haha, I have exactly hit your number. You will find, Pavan, that 5/4 plus 1/4 is in fact exactly equal to 3/2. So the defender number was set at 3/2, and the attacker was able to exactly hit 3/2. So in this case, the attacker wins and scores this number. So Dave now has a score of 1/10 plus 3/2 for a total score of 31/10. Okay? And you can have them keep a running total of their scores as they go and play here and do a lot of fraction addition and subtraction in this game. All right, so that's the basic way of playing 1v1 mode. Using paper would be your medium option. A calculator would be mild, and having them do this work in their head would certainly be spicy for most students. Adding a lot of spice, well, you can work with multi-sided dice. If you're working with 6-sided dice, the nice thing about that is eventually this is going to go to a denominator 60, which is very useful. I mean, 60 is a great denominator for fractions. We work with it a lot for things with, involving time and fractions of an hour. So it's a great natural consequence of using 6-sided dice. If you introduce these dice, my goodness, you're going to get some crazy denominators there and some crazy fractions as they keep score of their scores down there. But if you did have students do that, that would be an example of something that could go into their math portfolio for the year and say, hey, look, we worked with these crazy denominators and we only made one error as we were working on paper. All right. Any feedback, certainly hit me up by email. I'm at gjennings@scudsby.on.ca. And be sure to share these games with your colleagues if you're finding that they're useful in your classes. Again, thanks very much for showing up for your students' learning. I really appreciate you. Bye for now.